welcome to Simiview. And today, my dear people, I'm annoyed. I'm very annoyed. Annoyed because of the news that are reaching us from China, that our brothers and sisters, our own citizens, Kenyans, and indeed our black people, Africans, are being mistreated in China for ostensibly exporting the deadly coronavirus to China. Can you imagine? Who doesn't know that this virus originated from China? President Trump himself, though I don't care so much about him, has aptly nicknamed this virus a Chinese virus. And therefore it is senseless, for heaven's sake, when Chinese nationals want to say that it is the Africans who have taken this virus over there. My dear people, if you have not been annoyed, get annoyed now, together with me. But what makes it even worse and sad is that our African governments are quiet about it. They are treating the Chinese with kid gloves, with a so-called soft diplomacy. It can't go on like this, my dear people. We must get annoyed. We must ask tough questions. Why are these people treating us so contemptuously? And this is coming just in the wake of some two French madmen who want to test a vaccine that they have just developed right here in Africa. Can you believe it? But why is it that our own governments are quiet? Being that the only cardinal duty a government can do is to protect its own citizen, and yet we are just quiet. Would you imagine if this was American citizens who are treated like this? Or it is Chinese citizens we were treating in that manner? When the disease emerged in Wuhan in China, we were very sympathetic. In fact, I remember even the Kenya government sending face masks all the way to China. We have Chinese all over here, and none of us cared that there was corona in China. Why is it that Africans have continued to be treated in this manner for ages and ages, we ask? This afternoon, really, we are deeply, deeply annoyed. But Africa, you must rise. You must rise. Why are these people treating us with such disdain? Is it because of our poverty? Is it because our African leaders fly to their capitals with balls of poverty? Is it because our African leaders get corrupted by these people so that they can gain business over here? Is it because our African leaders have literally signed off tenders and businesses? Is it possible that our African leaders have literally mortgaged their countries by signing deals and treaties that are detrimental to their nations? Is it possible? That's why they just keep quiet when their nationals are treated in such manner. Now, from colonialism to neo-colonialism, now to colonization, we cannot accept it. My dear people, we cannot accept it. And it is time that we as Africans got so annoyed. Africa, you've got to rise. Africa, you are proud. Africa, you are rich with minerals, rich in culture, rich in the natural resources that God has given you. You have got to rise. You are not inferior to anyone. You must be proud of yourself, you Africa. It is time that we stop trooping to the West. It is time African governments came together and say that we are going to make Africa for Africa, where our people will be proud to live here, other than trooping to Western embassies and in the Arabic countries where our children are mistreated, raped, maimed, and even killed, treated as slaves. It is time we stopped the dangerous sojourns people are making through the Atlantic. Our own young people are dying on the high seas, that they are escaping Africa to the Western capitals. This is what causes all this disdain that we are seeing, and we must bring it to a stop. It is high time that our African governments started talking tough. You see, this is why these people had to kill such good leaders and tough leaders as Muammar Gaddafi. People who spoke with authority because they had taken care of their countries. So they had to be killed. People like Comrade Robert Mugabe, they were so hated because they put the African interest before anything else. That is why they were so hated. We need to take this African continent to another level. My dear people, it is time we started changing our mindset towards our motherland, Mother Africa. This slavery mentality, we've got to shed it off. This inferiority complex, we must stop it. Africa, you are so intelligent. America was built by the sweat of our own black people here. So we can build our continent. We can build it. With all these resources, we can build it. We can do it. We can do it. A story is told by Booker T. Washington, the foremost civil rights activists in the America. He talks of a family during the slave emancipation in America. One time, this white slave master wakes up in the morning and he calls that household. You see, the father, the grandfather, and the entire family, they grew up here knowing that they are slaves. They are dependent upon their master in everything, food, instructions. They were never independent in thought. So one day, when the slave master calls them and he tells them now that slavery has been abolished I want to declare you free. Walk out of my gates. I have released you. You are free. And you can see how happy they are that they are free at last. They clap and they are joyous. And they move out with their little items. But lo and behold, as they reach outside the gate, the head of the family for the first time starts getting worried. Where am I taking my family? What will they eat? Where will they stay? Yes, I'm free, but where do we go? For the first time, responsibility sets in. And sadly, the head of the family takes back his entire family to the slave master. And he kneels down. And he pleads, crying, Master, it is true that you freed us. But where do we go? We have always known you. We have always known your house as our home. Now, allow us to be your slaves, not by force, but willingly. What a sad day. What a sad statement. We fought for our freedom by our own blood, by our own sweat, and we were freed. But have we taken proper responsibility for that freedom that we were given? It is why we are still behaving as though we are colonized. Can we shed off that mentality of colonization, of neo-colonization, and now of colonization? Africa, rise! You must rise, Africa.